Let's turn now to CBS Evening News anchor Jeff Glor and CBS Chicago meteorologist Megan Glaros. They are with us now from Wilmington, North Carolina. So, Jeff, what conditions are you seeing where you are right now?
It's starting to get a little bit windier, but we're not really getting those big tropical storm force.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Megan,
next couple hours.
Yeah, we'll see those very soon, and then it's going to just pick up here. And then, obviously, the concern with this storm, as Megan's been explaining, and we've all been hearing, is just the length, the duration of it, and then it'll just sit here and continue to bring rain and more rain to North and South Carolina. Interesting to note that the storm is, as big as both North and South Carolina combined right now. Also interesting to see how people are reacting. A lot of people have heeded those warnings to get out. There has been some concern from officials that if people wake up this morning and see that it was downgraded to a Category 2, that they'd be less likely to leave, or they might put their guard down a little bit. So the message from North Carolina and South Carolina has been and the National Weather Service has been the big concern here is not the wind with this storm, it is the rain and the potential flooding.
Yeah, right. It might be a Category 2, but it's still a hurricane, people, and no one wants to get caught in that. Megan, can you talk about the specific conditions that this hurricane is expected to cause?
Right, like Jeff said, it's the storm surge, it's the rain, but then when that rain comes down and the storm is moving so slowly, then you're picking up, 30 plus inches of rain potentially across a good chunk of coastal areas of North and South Carolina. Add that to the rivers that are already here. They're going to overflow their banks. So you have river flooding, flash flooding, and then of course you've got the storm surge a little bit closer to the Atlantic Ocean where it could top 13 to 15 feet in spots. You add all that together, that's the big concern. The wind, yes, of course we know there are going to be projectiles, there are going to be trees down, power out, things like that. But that has gone down a little bit. The threat from the surge and the rain has not.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have all seen hurricanes before. We've seen enough hurricanes to know that it all changes.
Yeah.
The only constant here is change in the forecast, and which doesn't mean the forecasting is wrong necessarily. They do the best they can with all the information that's available, but the track is going to shift, right?
And what's happening right now is there's a big ridge of high pressure north of us, right? And that was driving it straight west, but it's starting to kind of die out a little bit and collapse. And so we lose what we call the steering currents. It's essentially like you're just then adrift. And that's what's going to happen. That's why it's going to slow down and kind of ride the coastline. We have to wait for another system to either pick it up and kick it out, or for it to eventually just die out. But that takes a while.
And the other scary, interesting part about all hurricanes here, Megan, is the fact that we're likely on the right side here, which is the worst side, because you're getting the combination of the wind from the hurricane and then the normal push it has.
That's exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's like the forward velocity of the storm and then the winds that are rotating around that center. So you add those together on that right side of circulation. Plus, that's obviously where the winds are pushing the water up against the shoreline, so you get the storm surge on that side. And also then sometimes, because the land provides some friction, if you think about it, those winds are coming in and it kind of spins those storms off a little bit, and then you get tornadoes, usually weak ones, but a tornado is a tornado, and that's always on that right front quadrant. So we call that the dirty side of the storm, which is where we are.
And if you have a 13-foot storm surge, I mean, you think about that for a second, Vlad. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall. That's we're well underwater, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I got to say, I'm thoroughly impressed by the commitment to exercise the people of Wilmington are displaying. I can't believe the number of people they're out for a jog behind you.
So clearly they're not evacuating.
So you see this. Yeah, no, well, I mean, some people still realize that they do have time. I mean, this is not unusual in storm situations and before hurricanes. There are people who take it right up until the last minute. There are people who then hunker down and stay throughout. Some getting their exercise in this morning, again, not unusual in these sort of situations. I mean, you see surfers go out on the ocean in some cases.
Obviously never a good idea. I'm sure they're out there though right now. You get those giant swells coming in before the storm hits.
And by the way, it's also worth noting that in some cases, Vlad and Anne-Marie, some people just feel like they can't leave. We talked to a guy yesterday. He's an 81-year-old barber who closed up his shop. His wife is 77. She's disabled. He doesn't have many options. He doesn't really have the ability to get out, and she needs medical care. He's hunkering down inside his home. Is he in a dangerous situation? Yes, he is. Will emergency workers try to help him if they can? Yes, but he's here. And so it's not people necessarily daring the storm. Some people just feel like they can't leave.
Yeah, and certainly our thoughts and our hopes are that they will be safe at this storm as it pushes towards land. Jeff Glor, Megan Glaros, thank you, Megan. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, guys.